Hi everyone, it's Ginny again. Today I want to show you some things that I pulled out of an old computer monitor. I had a lot of fun yesterday and I pulled it apart and dug out a heap of really interesting things. So I'll start by saying that if you want to do it yourself, you need to look into it and be very, very careful, because there are some dangerous things about doing that, and you need to go about it the right way. There's a couple of videos on YouTube that show how to disassemble a computer monitor. One of the important things is discharging any electricity that might still be stored in it, depending on how old it is. Mine was over 6 months without having any contact with electricity, and it had been left outside in the weather, so I was okay with that. But yeah, if you're going to be cutting wires or touching anything, you could get a zap from it, so you need to be careful, and you need to go about the right procedure to earth it so that it doesn't give you electric shock. And the other thing is the bulb that's in the monitor has been vacuum sealed, so there's like a pressure inside of it, and you have to break that, and it releases a loud hissing sound. If you don't do that, it could explode when you fiddle around with it, so, or implode. So yeah, it's a couple of those things. I also looked into it a bit further and did some reading up, and I found out that even though they say to be careful of the charge and the bulb, the actual most dangerous part about it is the power supply, and it's like a chunky box, and apparently that's got a lot of dangerous bits in it, and it can give you not an immediate shock, but it can give you a slow, I've forgotten the exact term, but it can release electricity into your body slowly, which is more dangerous for your heart apparently. So yeah, look into it before you try. So anyway, after all that, I'm going to show you what I pulled out. And there are lots and lots of bits and pieces, lots of wiring. Unfortunately, some of the things inside were rusty because it had been outside in the weather. Getting the power supply off, which I threw away, I wasn't going to play with that, but I had to get it off, unfortunately broke the circuit board. But that's okay, because I can still use the pieces from them. This was quite a large square, and there are 2 other circuit boards in there as well, which are smaller, which are fantastic. I got so excited opening this up and seeing all the things. I need to give that one a clean. But this is the neck of the bulb, which had glass around it, and it looks so pretty, and I would have loved to have kept it intact, but of course you can't, because it's like a tube that connects to the big sort of bulb of the, what you would see as the screen on your monitor. This is an old CRT monitor I'm talking about, by the way, not the more modern flat ones. So it's all connected, and you have to break it to release the pressure and yeah, get it off the main larger bulb. But isn't that pretty? It's got some really interesting things in it, and I like it just on its own. I think it's really interesting to look at. So there's that. I've got some metal clips. This one really excited me. This was a rubber seal that was over the top of this. Oops. But look, it's got one of these springform closures like you have on a springform baking pan. I get so excited. I'm like, oh wow, that's interesting. So there's that. And underneath that were all these things that look like cogs. They've got the edging, and they're all individual, but it's going to take a little bit to get them apart. Really, really interesting. Great for steampunk stuff. And there's a couple that I got apart, or even that comes apart again. They're glued together. There was some glue inside there that was like putty, I guess. Here's one of them. Some clips to hold the wiring down. This was the buttons that you press to turn it on and select the different things. It's funny. Another piece of circuit board. Another cog thing. A metal. I fought with this for ages trying to undo that screw, but you can't because I don't have the right tools, and I eventually found out it just slipped up and off very easily anyway. So here's part of the push button thing that has a spring on it. That was really interesting mechanism, because it had this piece and then this one pushes against that, and there's another spring up this end. So when you press the button to turn your monitor on, it moves back and presses against the spring and connects it, I guess. Interesting. Another metal clip, some more plastic bits, lots of screws and washers. Oh, this was the most fascinating. To hold the plastic framing of the monitor to the actual bulb, as they call it, what you would see as the screen, they had some intricate wiring that was, it had a spring on it to create tension, and so there were 4 corners, and in each corner there was this wiring that connected all up to this spring that pulled it tight. 3 corners there was the wire. On the 4th corner there was an elastic hair tie. Somebody cheated. They must have run out of wire. I thought that was hilarious. I ran in to tell my husband, look, they cheated. Yeah, so it's a little plastic thing. These are interesting. They're little clips and they twist and hold together like that, and that was through a hole. But I thought that actually looks like a baby's pacifier, doesn't it? Or what we call a dummy. So you never know, I might come up with a baby that has that in its mouth. Lots of these little coloured things on the circuit board, which I really love. Lots of metal clips, some little rubber washers. And that's about it really. Just, I don't know why the computer just turned off, and before it did, before it did, it had a little thing that said busy. What's it busy doing? Sleeping? Anyway, I was just finishing up showing you that and saying that there's lots more outside, and when I eventually sort of pull all that apart, and then I'll spread it out and decide to make something, and I'll come back and show you. Oh, hang on, I forgot to show you this. This amazing thing was underneath the neck of the bulb, so the bulb sat in there, and then this sits over what you would see as the screen that they call the bulb at the back of it. And look at all the copper wiring in there. Absolutely incredible amount. Fantastic. And I love these. Look, it's red wire, and then there's some other wire here, and of course that's another circuit board there with lots of little things, little metal spikes that all the wires are attached to. fantastic. And this plastic is very much like Bakelite. It's got that old look to it and that brittleness to it. Makes me wonder whether it actually is. This is very heavy. Fascinating. I just loved it, and I loved pulling the monitor apart and seeing how things were connected, and I looked up on the internet what the parts are, and of course I can't remember that to tell you now, but yeah, I just found it really, really fascinating. Our son thought I was a bit weird. It's like, what are you doing? You're a woman, you don't do this sort of stuff. I said, yes I do, and you know I do. Stop teasing me. Yep, so that's it. And eventually when I figure out what I want to make, I will do another extremely long video. And I'll speed most of it up though, like I did last time with my electronic people. So there, I just wanted to show you that. Okay, I'm off to make lunch now. Bye. Thanks for watching.